Hey, good afternoon. I think this is second week. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Weekly Check-In with Lisa Durden. How you doing, Lisa?
Hey, this week is off the rails, girl. We got too much to talk about. Ooh, juicy.
Oh, we have a lot to talk about. I want to do a personal check-in. How you feeling? What's going on? What's good?
Nothing. I'm not like these fools out here. My civil rights are not being violated by making sure I go out only when needed and wear a mask when I do and socially distance when I am out there, because it's like clothes. I mean, are you going to start saying your rights have been violated because you have to wear clothes in a restaurant? Like a restaurant, you can't even go to restaurants without a shirt on. So it's just like, let's all get along. So and furthermore, these politicians and these fools telling us we're opening up and we can go to restaurants and gyms. I'm still not doing it. I'm not listening to people. They're human beings. So yes, I go out for essentials. That's it.
And speaking of the COVID virus,
yes,
now I think as of today, California has now more reported coronavirus cases than New York. All right. Now, 2 months ago, like I said, I'm from LA. I got a lot of people in California. People were chilling, riding their bikes, going to the beach, going to parties, doing barbecues, chilling, like turn up. Oh, that's like an East Coast thing. You know what I'm saying? It's hot over here in California.
Right.
And that's not the only place.
Mm-hmm.
Florida is hot. Texas is hot.
And it's hot in New Jersey right now too. I mean, it's like literally like so hot here. They have like heat warnings because it's not just hot, it's very humid. So the humidity is so bad, it makes 94 seem like 100 and something.
Well, I was talking about coronavirus cases, hot spots.
Oh, no. Hot spots. Okay, hot spots.
Yes, it's hot spots but yes, it is hella hot too as well. It's hot here too. I mean, I'm gonna tell you.
Hot spots, yes.
Yes, the crevices are dripping wet, right? And not in a good way. It's ugly. But yeah.
So much.
But these spikes that are happening in different parts of the United States, what do you make of this?
Well, a blind person can see what I make of it, okay? Blind, deaf, and can't hear. Can't hear and you can't read, illiterate. People from the bottom kept pushing these weak-ass politicians to let them out of the house and open up. First of all, I had so many arguments online. Ain't nobody keeping you in the house. You're not on lockdown. I had to tell one girl, you ain't on lockdown. Walk out when you feel like it. What these politicians were doing, which was their job, was giving us best practices, right? So there was never really a lockdown. I can't stand the media and I can't stand people loving to have this drama. There was never a lockdown. There was never any bars on my door and locks on my windows and bars on my windows and locks on my door. I walked out my house whenever I felt like it. What the politicians were doing was their job. The senators, and you have people out of the prime ministers of other countries and presidents and, mayors of cities. They were all saying based on, medical information, we're getting stuff over time. People didn't know everything about it, even though they were medical professionals. As they got information, they gave us information. It was just information. So where did that go from it's information and let's do these things to we on lockdown and our rights are being violated? Like, really? So they felt the pressure because I know they want to be elected for the next year, or the next cycle, if you will. So a lot of those politicians felt pressured to start so-called letting folks out of lockdown. Now, there were businesses that was it's twofold. I'm saying people. Now, businesses, they said for them to close down. That was a little different than us staying in the house. So certain businesses had to close, not essentials like supermarkets and things like that, but things that were not essential. The gym is not essential. If you want to look at working out as essential, which of course I don't work out, I understand, you can work out anywhere. So they had to close down places that were not essential because it was too much, it was too hard to contain the spread. So things like eating in a restaurant, you can eat at home. They're not saying if eating in a restaurant was the only way you could eat, then that would be violating your rights because you can't eat anywhere, but you got options called your damn house. I mean, is it me? So like they didn't shut nothing down that was something you needed. They shut down schools. You didn't need school because they did online. Now, if they said no online and no school, then I would have to sue the department because I need my kids to learn. They gave you options. So that's all they did, was give you options. There was nothing we really could not do. You could eat, you could go food shopping, but you couldn't go to the gym, but you could work out. They didn't close parks until they had let the beaches stay up until you started acting like a fool. They left playgrounds open. See, people forgot those things in the early months or so. They left playgrounds open, but people were still doing play dates with your damn kids. So you started acting like a fool. So then they started closing the things that you could have done.
And then on top of that, they were showing up. I saw like a picture of the beaches and the parks. It's like thousands and thousands. Like at one point, there were like 4 million people on the beaches in California.
Girl. And in Florida was wild too. In New Jersey,
Jersey, yep. Mm-hmm.
Jersey started doing a little wild now. So this is what went on. So now these politicians, instead of having a pair of brass balls, not the saggy balls, I don't do saggy balls, but a pair of brass balls, they got to be nice and tight. You might get a look, see if they're nice and tight. So instead of these politicians, women and men, having a pair of brass balls, they started kowtowing to the people that they're supposed to be leading. You're a leader. People will remember your leadership skills come election time, that you didn't let them push you over. Now that they know that, and I'm not saying everything that you shouldn't listen. There's some things that the bottom should tell you what to do, and you should listen. But some things like this is where you now have to put your foot down. And you're not gonna, and putting that foot down is not gonna make you super popular. But what did some of them do? California opened too soon. I think some parts of Texas opened too soon. They got to close down things again. And I think New York, Cuomo's trying not to be embarrassed, but Cuomo, you got to start shutting some stuff down, because he keeps saying New York is. He had to go to Georgia to try to help them do stuff. You ain't right and tight here yet. Stay your ass over here, because you ain't right and tight in New York. You down there trying to help Keisha Lance Bottom, which is, I get the sentiment, great, but you ain't got stuff right and tight here, because people still at beaches and stuff wilding out. They had to shut down. They had to give either shut down the restaurant or give it some kind of citation, because they were opening up restaurants to eat in. And I think they took the liquor license from this restaurant because they had so many citations since they've been opening up restaurants, that you're letting folks go inside, chilling next to each other, elbow to elbow, no social distancing, drink, turning up. Girl, Morristown, New Jersey, about a couple of weeks ago, some restaurant was out there, people wilding, you saw people on the outside and the inside, just loving themselves. I'm not the one. I don't need a politician, a prime minister, the prince, or Jesus Christ to tell me to stay my Black ass in the house during a pandemic, unless I have to go out and then I'm scared as fuck when I do that. It's just ignorance and brattism, if that's a word, and just straight up, supremacy, not just white supremacy, it's just supremacy. Americans think they're supreme. They just have to have it all. You ain't got to have it all. Like, it's just the attitude of people in America, and then not just Americans do, but I mean, we should be embarrassed, because we're the leader of the free world. We lead the world in so-called everything, right? For them to follow us, and you're acting like idiots. We didn't see nothing going on in Canada. They seem to be doing good. Like, that's my take.
No. Look, and I think maybe this was yesterday. I just got a message. This a woman who I met in college, in her early 40s, a nurse, coronavirus, died, left babies, left kids. And I think that's another part of the conversation that people have been having. There are people that have got to be on the front lines, the medical professionals, the people at the grocery stores. Absolutely. Just have at least some decency and dignity for them, right? So a lot of, I don't have any words, but at some point, so the thing is that at some point, see, this is why they're justifying this over policing that's happening. At some point, when are you going to be, I don't understand, are you going to be mature, responsible, and just in order to move everything forward?
Well, I don't think that they should weaponize the pandemic or criminalize the pandemic, because once they do that, they're going to get us. They've been trying to do that with us anyway. Because once they start making things against the law, you're going to see more Black and brown people getting screwed over. I think that they should do what they've been doing, but still double down. They should try to give us these marching orders, and we should march with the orders. But when they give the marching orders, don't dial them back. You keep doubling down. Don't fall kowtow to the people when you know this is the best thing we got right now. And so you keep on pushing that messaging forward. You'll always get deflectors, and you'll always get idiots. That's anything. If people have children, you get 2, 3 kids, one fool gonna like the fool. You know, you teach in a classroom, you got 15 kids in a classroom, you're a professor, you're gonna get one person that's gonna push that envelope that's gonna keep trying your ass. That's just human nature, right? You move in a neighborhood, you got neighbors, you got one neighbor that's always complaining about something, they don't want to act right and don't want to be part of what the neighbors are doing. You'll always get those people, but by and large, if you keep marching in the direction of right, most people, even though they grumble and crumble and complain for a little while, that percentage of folks, they'll eventually fall in line. You'll get those. And you have some people that will complain for a while, then fall in line. But if you keep vacillating, they got you.
Right. Yeah. And I definitely don't believe in like this over policing and all these, mandates and because I think just American culture.
Non-criminal behavior.
Right. Yeah. So I think there will be a resistance, but I think this is indicative of American culture, this individualism, this me for myself and all these things like that. But, and so what has happened is that you have areas that actually followed it. I think we had the conversation when coronavirus hit the United States and they said the population that's going to be most affected are roughly about 60 and up. Those 60 and up people stayed in the house. You know what I mean? For the most part. Now what you're seeing, right? Are you seeing, younger folk getting sick and all these things? So we shall see. But I wanted to move actually towards younger folk. We had this conversation a couple of weeks ago, but I wanted to return to it. Now that it is late July, moving into August, schools are soon going to reopen. What do you think schools should be doing?
First of all, people can't stand when I talk about kids because they love to ask, do you have kids? And I will tell them in a minute, no, I ain't got no kids. I had better sense than you. I knew better than to have kids if I didn't want them. A whole lot of folks had kids they didn't want because they had sex and they had kids. Moving on, I've been a kid, okay? I've been educated. So my opinion, my humble opinion, and I don't think it's that humble, is no child, they say, well, it's a 5%, margin of error. But it's okay when the 5% margin of error is not your child. So if it were me and I was a politician, we would not go back to school. Here's what's interesting. You're already online, mother cluckers. We're already online. Since you shut down in March, around circa March 2020 in America. So you're already there. Why would you uproot that online situation just to bring them back in the building to get these coronavirus cases in there? I suggest that all politicians in all school districts around the country leave kids home till 2021 and start school back in September in person in September 2021. So you're home for the fall of 2020 into the spring of 2021, and you're gonna be home until June of 2021. That's what it looks like. Now, that's my opinion, but there's been some debate. Now a lot of teachers are now going on the front lines protesting about going back because they've been letting people go back to camp and stuff and testing it out, and people are coming up with coronaviruses. Even sports is starting back again, baseball is starting back again, and some players, since they've been in baseball camp, have been coming up with coronavirus. So what the teachers have been on the front line, some in New York, have been saying they don't want to go back to school. You're putting our lives on the line. I think now, if I'm not mistaken, here in New Jersey, they're giving them the option. And I think New York is following suit. If you want your child to go back to school in person, I think Governor Murphy in New Jersey is saying your child can go to school or, physically, bodily in school or be online. Now he's giving all students Wi-Fi and all students computers laptops who don't have them. You should have been had that. That means you've been had the money. And we know that in the Black school districts, they never had nothing, but okay, fine. So now in New Jersey, he's implementing that. So now he's leaving it up to the parents to decide. Now, if you are a parent and you decide to still send your child in on that minefield of the coronavirus, I got to look at you sideways, because now in New Jersey, he's giving you the choice. Now, I think New York is giving me the choice too, because I know that I'm going to the School of Visual Arts in New York, and we got something from the provost saying that we can opt to either go to school in person, go to school online, or do a little of both. I put online. Now,
And
how this gonna work, because I'm in a documentary program, I can shoot because I can control that environment, right? I'm shooting my brother, I'm doing a documentary about my brother for my thesis. So I don't mind that, but when I'm at his house, I can say, go in the bedroom while I set up, I can work that out. So I don't feel as endangered by shooting my brother or shooting at his church. I could be in the back of the church and have my mask on, you know what I mean? But when I'm in classroom, I don't control the side of the classroom. Where I go, the classrooms have no windows, it's small, and it's 15 students in it. I don't know. So let me see how that's gonna unfold. So if you have the option for your child not to go back physically, I would take that option. Now, I'm aware that means some adjustments have to be made based on your work schedule. That's another problem. There's a lot going on.
right, yeah, there's a lot of decisions that there's a lot of factors and decisions that need to be made, because there was a teacher actually from Detroit. She was a Detroit school teacher.
Yeah.
And she said, simply the reason why, because they're pushing for the students to go back to school, is that you want the parents to go to work. It has nothing to do with the child's health and welfare. It has nothing to do, certainly, with the teacher's health and welfare, because here you are on this Zoom call. You don't even want to meet me in person, but you want me to sit in front of a class with children who we know are prone to just be germy, and teach them. Another thing is that the Florida Education, I think Federation or Florida Education Association, is a union in Florida. They actually have sued the governor of Florida and saying, we don't want to be the petri dish for America, because as you know, Florida is one of those states that that did, people out on the beach, right? So there's also this rolling pushback. And I think we were kind of having this conversation before. 2020, as we know it, and this is another thing, if there is somebody who tests positive for coronavirus in any institution, the campus will be shut down. College campus, and
so
you've got to
never open up, because the minute we walk on campus, somebody there got corona.
Exactly.
I mean, everywhere you go, you are amongst coronavirus people. You just don't know who they are, because they may not know who they are.
Right. So I also want to say, we also have this conversation about where, if you are, because there are people who have the means and the resources to travel. I think it's over right now, about 100 and some odd countries have banned the United States from coming in, to the border, most of Africa, most of Europe. Serbia and Croatia are available if you want to go there.
I want to go to Ethiopia in January, so we'll see where that takes me.
We'll see. I think Ethiopia has banned the United States, right? So also, like you said earlier, several weeks ago, the United States is getting a taste of its own medicine, right? So this is very interesting. But the point is that if coronavirus sends people into quarantine, you're like, it's a start, stop. How beneficial is that? I have absolutely no idea.
No, it's not a start, stop. That's my point. We've already stopped. Let's stay stopped.
True.
And I can't stand people say the second wave. Where's the first wave at? Did it go away? So this is the game and the language. People are glomming onto things that aren't real. There is no such thing as a second wave. We have not cured coronavirus. What wave is the second wave? We're in the first. It's still going on. What do you mean? So this is what people are glomming on, because they want to live in denial. We are already stopped. Stay stopped. Now, do I think that some things could have opened up in phases, because we have to you just can't stay closed down and nothing's working. I do get that. But do I think it was okay to maybe open back up the parks again? Because now, by the time now happened, this is now July, we know more about the social distancing. We know more about the masking. We have you can get the plastic shields. We have a bit more testing. So no, today is not the same thing as March, 4 months later. So I do think that some things could have been, back implemented again. But just rolling stuff out again like normal, there's never going to be another normal again. So even like trains and stuff here in New York, somebody's always calling on this goddamn thing. Here in New York, they're talking about trains. I'm not getting on the mother clucking trains in New York to go to school. No, ma'am. they have people so-called, they have these people cleaning the trains and you see the steaming. There's no way to clean those trains enough for the numbers of people that get on those trains all day. They try to clean the trains throughout, and then at the end of the day, I think trains in New York are not 24 hours anymore. They do shut it down at some point and clean it good, but that's not good. You touching stuff, you're sitting there. Every single time the train stops, they're not cleaning behind the last person that sat there. People are going to catch coronavirus who get on that train. Now, you can practice social distancing as much as possible, so you may have less of it, but you're gonna still get cases. Once you start to get people moving again, you're gonna get more cases. So why multiply those cases quickly and in large number when you could just stay shut down, except for, okay, the trains, get those back again. I don't mind seeing the parks open up again, because now we should know better not to call Becky and John and have play dates. I don't mind the playgrounds opening again, because you can go there with your kids on the swing and not be with another kid. So you could, but you still have to, so those things can happen only if people still do what you're supposed to do. But those forced situations, in other words, the park is a choice. Like if you open up the park, I don't give a shit, I ain't going to the park. But if you force my kid to go back to school, my kid has to go to school by law. So if it were me, things I don't have to do, I'm staying the fuck away. That's just me. I'm not going to parks, I'm not going to gyms, I'm not going to restaurants, I'm not going to movie theaters, I'm not going nowhere. That's my choice. So when they open up those things, you're still making a choice, but school is not a choice, right? So that's something that they have to be very careful about, opening up like it was like before. So that's how I feel about that. So this is why America, people are looking at us sideways and saying, you can't come to my country with those coronavirus cases.
And then another thing I want to say is that even those countries that have reopened or partially open,
mm-hmm.
their whole school year is digital. The whole school year is digital.
Correct.
And they're fine. And here the United States is struggling. They're like, some people can reopen. I mean, some can partially hybrid and all this other stuff. You're not
gonna get dumb. You're not gonna get any dumber going to school online as you would going in class. In fact, you should be smarter, because you ain't getting out of bed to get ready for school. Go pack your bag. You're not forgetting. You can't tell the teacher now you forgot your homework because you're right there. You can't say the dog ate it because you're right at the house. Mm-hmm. So like I got a 4.0 in this last semester because I was home. I would probably got a 3 point something, but now I got a 4.0 because I was just killing the game. I'm in my drawers. I roll out of bed. I'm doing my thing. I'm editing all night and I'm falling asleep for 4 hours. I'm waking back up, not worrying. See, if I had to get up to go to class to be there by 11, so I got to be on the train by, let's say 10 o'clock. I got to get up at 8:30. Now to be at class at 11, I wake up at 9, 10:30 and turn the computer on.
Right, but Lisa,
I have hours.
But you're a single woman with no children. I know people with, you know what I'm saying?
I'm saying I'm taking that into account. I've been a child. I know what it's like to have a mom, and we had kids. You don't have to get up in the morning. Now, we're not talking about the work thing. I'm just saying the kid itself going on to school online. If you can still not work, I don't know how the work thing's gonna work out. But let's just say the kid's doing less preparation to go online. You just turn the computer on. You're not having to bring bags of, you don't have to bring books to school. They're at your house. You don't have to say, oh, I forgot my book, and oh, it's in the locker. Like, it's a little more efficient as far as I'm concerned.
No, I would say not. And that's from the reports of a whole bunch of people that have children. I don't know if it's necessarily more efficient in as much as there is not a comprehensive plan on how to do it online. So
I'm saying, right, that part is
that part, right, exactly.
Okay. Now what kind of rigor you got going on, that's another conversation, of course.
Right. So, I mean, the parents are like, most parents, there are some parents that are like, I really would like my child to go to school. But they're like, it's not the fact that they're home, it's that because there was such a quick transition and there wasn't really a tested or way to do it.
Right.
A lot of it failed. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah.
So that's something that needs to be, and that's across the board, and that's actually across the world. So that is something that needs to be addressed, because like you, I don't know when, the full on in-person school across the board is going to happen. And we'll see. Moving on, and this is still coronavirus related. We talked about this. So now this is the first week that the Senate, the legislative branch is back in from their break, and the debate on the Senate floor is the stimulus check and what will round two look like in terms of the stimulus bill.
Right. So there's all kinds of shenanigans happening because, you know, you got everything's political. So from what I understand, Senator Kamala Harris and Cory Booker both wrote some legislation to introduce a stimulus package that's going to be now not just the one-time $1,200 like we did before. She wants to do something much like what they did in Canada, what the Prime Minister did in Canada, and give us $2,000 a month. For how long, I don't know what that looks like, but she says $2,000 a month, not a one-time dollar amount. So according to all the Pences and all these other people, that's dead on arrival in the Senate, which of course I believe it is. So where that's going, the threat is it's dead on arrival. Is it dead on arrival? Yeah, I think it's dead on arrival. Now what the alternative is gonna look like and what their point of view, I don't know. Do I think that that's nothing? I mean, $2,000 a month between now and let's say December, let's say she's saying for the next few months to just stimulate the economy between now and December, I would say that'll work because what can happen is they can do a couple of things. They can now, if you're giving us $2,000 a month, each person, you can take us off of unemployment. We don't need both because you're giving us $2,000 a month, right? Or maybe a little less of that and some of this. Because think about the economy. What people don't realize is this is the greed of them. I'm gonna use myself as an example. So my website was hacked. So the hosting company took it down because it was compromised. So I had to call my web hoster, who I don't pay all the time because I can't afford a person looking at my site all day and night. So I called, text her and said, listen, the site's down, and they sent me this long thing of things you got to do to get it back before they let it go back up because it's compromised. So look at this and let me know what you're going to charge. She charged you $499 for that. $499 to fix that. Now, I'm unemployed. In COVID, where am I getting that money from? Where am I going to get money to hire the small business owner to fix it? I got unemployment, so I paid her. You see what I'm saying? Now, that website was down while I was also applying for not a job, but a workshop at Bloomfield College to do a workshop in August on communication. But when I was applying, I had to go through the purchasing department, and they want you to put all this stuff on the form, including your website. All this was happening at the same time that my website was down. And the man wrote me an email saying, your website is not working. Do you have a good website to give us? Because they want to do checks and balances. So now see how it's all catching you? So if I couldn't fix the website, I can't get this money. It's all catching you. So it does stimulate the economy to be able to people to live. So I wrote him an email. Luckily, I was able to say, oh, the website was down, it was compromised. It'll be up within the next couple of days. So if you don't mind, give me that time and I'll circle back and let you know when it's up. He said, not a problem. So I'm gonna be able to do the workshop. So I had to pay her, and I'm gonna get paid. It stimulates the economy. If I didn't have this unemployment money, I would be like, I can't do anything. I can't fix the website. So then if you give somebody $2,000 a month, they can go buy some shoes. They can go buy some food. They can go, if you want to start opening movie theaters, I'm not going to the movie theater, but y'all can go to the movie theater. You can go to the movie theater. Like, I'm not going, but people will go. The nail salon and all that. So I just think that it's a win-win for everybody. But if it was a Republican Senate and Republican Congress, so the Senate would pass it like it's their idea. They're not passing it simply because it's the idea of most Democrats in the Congress. Now, election year is coming up, November. You know, people do vote down ballot. I'm one of the people that's going to start doing that. They're going to do something because they get ready to be shaky. Because you even heard the president, they sent out a quote from the president. Even with the unemployment, with that whole extra FUA, whatever, that extra $600 a week, that he said by the end of this month, which is next week, that whatever you get for unemployment plus the other $600 a week, that $600 a week is going to stop the last week of, your last check is the last week of July. He said, oh yeah, we're not giving no more money. Now he's circling back saying, well, we can't afford to give that money, but if we do decide, it won't be 60, it might be 4. He's dialing it back.
Yeah, they're dialing a lot. Those Republicans are dialing a lot back because what it's showing, and of course these surveys, are not 100% foolproof, right? Mm-hmm. And they're not the 100% indicators of the future. But a lot of these Republicans are losing. They are on the other side because, like you said, these Republican states are getting impacted just as much as these Democratic states.
Worse. There's been a lot of people can look at it. There's been a lot of articles. Last week there was we can have a huge article about a lot of people weren't even getting the unemployment. There are a lot of people who were on unemployment let's say from June. This is now the end of July. A lot of folks, because people are getting on it, as things happen. So that wave of folks who got on around June, they ain't seen no check, and we talking about the end of July next week. So, and they don't look like me. A lot of them are white. They're on News 12 talking. They're on My 9 News. They're on ABC News. They're on all the major networks talking. They got protesting. They are crushing them. And these are people who are in very, very Republican states and cities. And some are not. So you can't make those folks go hungry, because they're going to remember that when they go to the polls hungry in November, they ain't going to vote for you.
Well, if they're going to Capitol buildings with bazookas and AK-47s because they don't want to wear a mask, what do you think they're going to do if they're hungry?
Well, they're doing it now. Some of these people don't know what it's like to have a soup kitchen where they got to go get their food. Well, I don't know about you, but although I didn't grow up in the projects, we did have what we call welfare cheese, welfare peanut butter in the can, welfare meat in the can, welfare jelly in the can. You know that welfare meat in the can, whatever the hell that meat is, and you open the can up and you slice the big ass piece of meat up. It's a big blob of meat. So that welfare cheese was pretty good. They would melt down pretty good for the cheese, for a grilled cheese sandwich.
It gets you constipated though,
yes.
Lord.
Oh, I don't remember now, but so we had, so we know what it's like to eat Spam and potty meat and Vienna sausages for dinner. It's not an issue. So some people who are used to surviving that way, yes, we still complain, but it's just kind of like what we're used to. Like on my own as Lisa Durden, I'm not as poor as my parents were. I don't have 5 kids and no money, but it's just me. But I still know how to click back into survival mode when one must do. So, but some of these folks who middle class, lower middle class, who not used to living like that, they about to tear something up. Every day is something, they tear something up, tearing it up. So I think they're going to do something, because they just can't be a hard ass like they claim they were going to be. But they don't want to act like they're being too soft either. So I think they're going to do something, but it won't look like what Kamala is introducing in Cory Booker with the $2,000 a month. And this FUA, whatever, this unemployment, that extra piece, it will not be $600 a week. It might be another $400. But they're going to do something.
And it's more so than likely that what the condition is right now, it's going to force them to implement even some type of universal basic income, which is what the Kamala,
right. But it won't be forever. No, that's what they're saying, but short term.
Right, exactly. I think that it can work if it is in tandem with other things. There still needs to be a moratorium on evictions. There needs to be something with property owners and their mortgages. There needs to be something with student debt. There's a couple of other things that need to run at the same time,
right,
that keeps the pressure off, even if it's until until the end of the year, 4 months, when people can just get their feet on the ground will mean a lot. So, but the Republicans are going to have to, because the whole saying universal coming out of Republicans' mouth is something that they would never want to do, but that they may be forced to do it.
When I saw, what was that? Some asshole, was it Lindsey Graham was out there with a mask on saying Black Lives Matter? It was one of them. They all seemed like
Mitch McConnell,
Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham look alike. And Mitch McConnell, he out there with the marchers saying Black Lives Matter. He's in the protest. I said, okay, McConnell, you. Oh yeah, I think I wrote McConnell. He must be losing in the polls. So they know better. So I think that the chickens are coming home to roost for them, because November's coming, and see, they realize. They didn't realize, I say they, you know who they is, all y'all up there who was questioning stuff. They thought, they're gonna march for one day. These people are marching, and they're not all Black people. They people out there camping out, ain't washing their funky asses. They out there for a month in New York on the ground, sleeping with funky spit and chewing gum on people's shoes and piss. I can't do it, I need a bath. I can skip a day or two, but after about 2 days, my funky ass needs to be in the shower somewhere. And shaving down some hair. I grow hair in the wintertime. Trust me, you can't be my man in the wintertime because you ain't gonna like my ass. But I do want to shave in the summertime once in a while, get a little.
You know what? I'm a little rogue right now. I'm not gonna. No,
I go rogue. I go rogue. But this is a good day, So
I understand.
I get my moods, kind of thing. So when you see, Mitch McConnell talking,
It's Lindsey Graham. I'm sorry, it was Lindsey Graham.
Okay, I was like,
correct.
I was like, yeah, wait, then you don't mess me up because I thought it was me. And here's what I know Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham was actually, he was a tick tick boom anyway. Tick tick boom.
Ticky ticky boom boom. Yep.
Okay, because it was something weird. You know, The View is my show. I try to tell this fairly quickly. So they had Lindsey Graham on about 2 months ago, circa a month and a half, 2 months ago, about the usual whatever. So I'm like, so when they have somebody like that on, I'm ready to curse the TV out because I'm about to tear it up. I don't like you Republicans. So something said, girl, get you some tea and calm the hell down because you're going to start yelling at the TV in your house and throw a hammer through the TV. So I'm watching, and they had it for 3 segments. Segment 1, I'm like, oh, okay, Lindsey Graham. I'm like, when they cut, we're going to come up with more Lindsey Graham. I'm thinking, okay, he gonna wild out this time. I'm like, oh, okay, Lindsey Graham. Everything Lindsey Graham said, I agree with. He was talking about the need for unemployment because of the pandemic, the need for this. He was reasonable. And I'm like, okay, so then that paired with this, I knew something was wrong then when I agreed with everything he said in every segment. I'm like, segment 3? I mean, I literally had nothing to say. And I'll tear it up, I'll tear you up. I mean, the boy was tight. That was nothing but him doing a campaign. That was his campaign. His campaign is making sure he's gonna take care of you during Corona. He talked about how unemployment, how you needed it. I mean, he was saying some stuff that was totally progressive. Everything he said was what progressives have said. And now you on the line talking about some Black Lives Matter, Lindsey Graham. I thought, so I wasn't surprised because I'm like, you out there, and you like went from that to now you out there physically on the front lines. It's hilarious to me.
But this is a great example of voting is only a very small, minute part of the whole picture. You have got to keep your foot in the ass of politicians. You've got to hold them accountable.
Wall. Keep your knee on their necks. Now, here's the thing about Lindsey Graham and what you call Lindsey Graham et al. So Lindsey Graham and them, do I think he's sincere? No. But do I think this is a lesson? Not that I would vote for, if I was in Carolina, I wouldn't vote for Lindsey Graham. But if I were more like a Anna Navarro, she's not a staunch Republican, but she's a lifelong Republican. And you want to stay in the party. She's not trying to leave the party. Would I think, okay, you've atoned? At least he's trying to make an effort to atone, and maybe he's learned his lesson. I ain't fucking with you, but I'm just saying. So give him in other words, you're having a lot of Republicans who are deflecting too because they realize you just went too far. So give them a reason to vote for you, meaning the Anna Navarros of the world. There's a lot of centrists who are not just Democrats. There's centrist Republicans. So give her a reason. So at least Lindsey Graham, in the short run, is giving you a reason, right? He's implementing things. He's on the right side of history now, and that kind of thing. So I manage these other yahoos. I don't know what's going on.
Talking about Black Lives Matter movement, within the past week, your dear President Donald Trump has threatened and in some instances deployed federal troops in cities that he said have gotten out of hand.
Yep.
The country has been watching Portland, Oregon. And also Donald Trump said he's going to send federal troops to Chicago because of the shootings. He's also going to send federal troops to Atlanta. And specifically in Portland, this happened last night. So the mayor, Ted Wheeler, who's also the commissioner of the police department, I don't know how you do that, both. He went out, there were a lot of complaints about the police brutality, but there were a lot of concerns about these, what do you call these, federal troops in camouflage or plain clothes with no identification, literally jacking people and throwing people in vehicles. Do you think that the federal law enforcement agencies should intercede in these cities?
No, I do not think that the federal government should be involved in some of those kinds of things because we have local politicians for a reason. We need you to legislate some free college. You doing somebody else's job. You don't get to override a city. That's why when you saw the mayor of New York talk about what they were going to do in schools, you heard the governor say, you don't decide that, right? Governor Cuomo made sure he said, you don't decide that. I decide you go back to school. He made it very, not to say he's not going to listen to your ideas, but the decision ain't yours. Calm the hell down. So I don't think anybody has a problem with the president suggesting something because you're the president of the United States. Taking actions, whoa. And actually, he was not even invited there. They didn't even ask for that. So the president thinks he wants to show that he's the law and order president, running around trying to say what he's going to do in other cities. Well, Philadelphia got something for that ass. The prosecutor in Philadelphia, when the mayor said he's ready to go to cities. Now I didn't hear he mean black city. I didn't hear him say Newark, but we know he means wink, wink, the black cities. So the Philadelphia said, oh no, the hell you don't. Philadelphia's prosecutor said they're prepared to arrest federal agents and put your asses in jail. They gonna arrest your ass. You come to Philadelphia.
Damn.
Wait. Let me say that one more time. So you said, I like how you said that. The prosecutor in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania said, when you bring that ass here, all you federal agents, we're arresting that ass. When they say we're preparing, they getting the documentation together. They gonna have a judge stamp that shit. You ain't going up in there. And what did you just say?
Damn.
Correct.
And and that's what's mayors across the country are getting prepared. And I said, is this like a civil type of semi-civil war, or are we now becoming mini fiefdoms or mini kingdoms? This is really interesting.
And the mayor of Chicago,
Lori Lightfoot
got on TV. She said, "No, you ain't coming up in Chicago doing shit."
Doing shit.
Now I know she normally probably said shit behind closed doors. She didn't say shit.
Yeah.
But I could tell that when that black girl neck starts snapping, she meant shit. But she was professional.
Yeah.
But so now people are put on notice because he done did it in Portland.
In Portland.
And then the mayor of Portland, or was it the mayor? Yeah, said, we didn't even ask for that. We want you out of here. We want you out of here.
Right.
Because you're causing more problems than there were. There were peaceful protesting going on. This is our right to peacefully protest, our First Amendment right.
And there's a lot of footage that shows that there wasn't anything really that was going on. And the federal troops just started throwing gas, tear gas into the ground.
Of a military person,
the Navy veteran, the older, yes.
No, he was not old, tall. Oh, tall guy. I couldn't tell how old he was.
He was a little older.
Oh, okay.
He was a retired Navy vet.
Oh,
probably
okay.
was in his 60s, I want to say.
Okay. He looked good for his age. Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. So they done broke his arm.
Yeah, they would have. But I saw the footage, and they interviewed him, and he, you know what? And I have to give him props. I got to look up his name, but he said, I'm going to use. He said, I'm a private person, but I'm going to use my 50 minutes of fame and say we need to put the focus back on Black Lives Matter. If I was a black vet, it would have been a whole different situation. So I give kudos to. That's the type of that's the type of brother we need. Exactly.
The fact that he's out there tells you he stands by that, and he's not. So we have a lot of very committed and dedicated allies who really mean what they're doing, and they just got sick of it. So I don't think that a lot of people have these conversations. I mean, amongst ourselves, black folks, and see some of this as just the popular thing to do on the right side of history. I do think that some people are going to fizzle out. That's just called life. But I don't think all people outside of the Black community are just there for clickbait and all of that kind of stuff. They really do mean it. You have a lot of people. This is not the first time it's happened. It happened in the 60s during the Civil Rights Movement. It's happened when we were, trying to escape from slavery in the Underground Railroad. White folks helped us then. Not all, but we had some who were part of the Underground Railroad helping, slaves escape to freedom to the North. So you'll always have people who don't like injustice, who don't look like it. I mean, they're like I was telling you, I don't want to be a prostitute, but if we had to vote for legalization of prostitution so it could be safer and more, not a crime, I would vote for that, because I'm understanding that because it's criminalized, their crimes happen in there. People get killed, women are treated badly, robbed, raped. If it was like, at one point liquor was not legal, and you had people killing each other over corn liquor and bootleg liquor. Now it's legal. You go to a liquor store and it's safer. So once things become legal that are not really, they're victimless crimes, if you will, things will be safer. So that kind of thing. So it's no different than legalization of marijuana, legalization of alcohol, legalization of prostitution, if that were the case. Well, you can't now start criminalizing something that, is not hurting anybody. They were peacefully protesting. They were saying what they had to say, and it's a free speech world. Why were you trying to criminalize that? So because you don't like it, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm. And another thing about the protest is they have started to, in Portland, it's very evident. They started to adopt what protesters in Hong Kong have been doing with the leaf blowers and the umbrellas. And I sat back and I said, that's interesting, because a lot of people have been very critical about, China and the way that China's government runs and what it does to its citizens. So if the citizens of the United States have got to revert to what the protesters in China have got to do, then what is that saying about the United States itself? But I want to move to, I know I'm not going to have much to say, because I know you're about to light it up this week, as your girl, your niece, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was
AOC
walking
all day, AOC all day, AOC all day.
Was walking.
That's my daughter.
All right.
I want to 28. That's my daughter, girl. I'm 50.
That's your daughter. Yeah, your daughter was walking up the steps to Capitol building, cast a vote. Walking down was Representative Yoho. I forgot his last name. Out of Florida. His first name.
Todd.
Yes, Todd Yoho. Out of Florida, was walking down.
Sweeney Todd. I'll call him Sweeney Todd.
Sweeney Todd. Oh, okay. Sweeney Todd was
the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. That's a movie.
He was walking down the steps while she was walking up, and he confronted her about a position that she took on crime and policing in COVID-19. They got into a back and forth very briefly, but at the end of it, as he was walking away, he called her a fucking bitch. All right?
Right.
I'm gonna let you take it over.
Let me just go back to the beginning. No, they didn't get into a beef. She was polite, like you pass by in office buildings all the time. That was over. She said that whole thing was over. I'm on my own time now. She's walking through the hall and was waving and speaking. This is not a discussion about what's going on. That's not this was an unofficial, I'm in the hallway speaking. So she waved and spoke politely, and then he pointed in her face and was in her face with his finger about what she was saying in the Senate, I guess, the meeting. He didn't like it. That's how that started. He had his finger in her face first. First of all, I would have smacked that fool's finger out his face and mushed it out my face. Would have mushed his ass in the face, and I would have tore that ass up. I would have stomped his balls to the ground. When you put your finger in my face, the law says that you have a right to a certain amount of personal space. And the law says if you feel threatened in that space and people come too close to your personal space, you have a right to defend yourself within a certain amount of personal space. I would have smacked that finger in my face, and his old ass would have been touching the ground with his tongue. That's number one. He's lucky my daughter is not her mama. That's number one. So then when that happened, then she was like, what are you doing? And that's how that began. So he was like, yeah, because you wanted to vote for this. He didn't like what he didn't agree. And so he was berating her and saying, you ain't nobody, and just berating her. And she said, I'm out of here. And he wouldn't let her walk away. He kept saying stuff, and that's how that was. She was walking away. They were not doing anything. He was doing it. And because she made him extra mad, Bob was like, I don't have time for your stupidity. He called her a pack of bitches, and now I want to say he didn't. Bitch, please. Meaning Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. That's an old movie. Sweeney Todd, a song from a movie, a soundtrack. No, dude. But what's so interesting is how it's easy for white people, particularly a white man, to aggress, accost and abuse a woman of color without facing any repercussion or pushback. This would not be going on if it was Nancy Pelosi. Then you got to bring in age, because people feel like Nancy Pelosi should get away with shit because she's old. No, I don't think so. So that would not have gone down. Pelosi's old and white and a woman. That's problematic. We should all be outraged that that Latina woman was talked to like that by a man, number one, and then he had other men with him. She was by herself. That's very threatening. And then they want to call us angry and whatever. Excuse you? And they want to call people of color threatening.
And then when one of them was Representative Williams, another Republican, when he was asked about the incident, he said, "Oh, I wasn't paying attention. I was thinking about something else." So they essentially, he's saying that I would have, if it would have gotten even physical, I would have not even interceded. I would have acted like it did not happen.
But it did get physical. He put his finger in her face.
No, that's true. No, that's true.
No,
You're
but
right.
no, he's a liar. It did get physical.
You're right. Correct me. Correct me. Yes.
No, not you. But
no.
My daughter.
No, you're right.
My daughter said he put his finger in her face and was wagging that finger and yelling. That's scary alone. When a black man gets in an elevator and doesn't say a sound, you clutch your pearls when you see a black man walk in the elevator, not putting his finger in your face. Becky would have started crying.
Oh, a Karen would have flipped the hell on out.
As she should. So, like, excuse you? Not you, but like.
I got you.
Girl.
No, I'm laughing, but it's not funny.
No.
You made some really critical points. And I said, well, where, I agree with you. One, where is the outrage? Where are the men in the CBC and the Latino caucus standing up and say, you know, we absolutely do not tolerate this type of behavior, you know, with our colleagues, number one. Like, who does that, right?
Where Auntie Maxine at? Where's Auntie Maxine at, right? Where is Ayanna Presley at? Where is Rashida Tlaib at? Where are all of them? They talk a lot of shit about a lot of stuff. Where's that Kate Porter at, right? These are the ones who talk a lot of good shit that I love. Where's this at now? I'm not discounting all the other things that they've said and done and all the legislation trying to push. Where's that at for this?
And then on top of it,
where's Ilhan Omar? And I can't name most of the men because I don't care about men that much. But where is Cory Booker? Where is Kamala Harris? Because you don't have to just be Latino. You don't have to just be in Congress. You could be in the Senate. Where are just random groups and people from anywhere?
Because my thing is that when you allow that type of behavior to go on, it is only going to get worse. You know, unchecked things like that are only going to get worse. Yeah. And as we move closer,
what makes it messed up is the ones we want to talk about how when Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez got in there, they didn't like how she was doing pushback with our girl Nancy Pelosi, and they were using age. She's your senior, such and such your senior, she's old. Pelosi and Maxine Waters are the two senior people there, and women. So y'all can't have it both ways. You can't have it where you want us to respect you and not challenge you because you old as dirt. But then you don't protect me as my grandmother when somebody steps on my shoe the wrong way. That's a disconnect for me.
Right.
Now again, do I think women should have to protect women? No, but I'm gonna say just colleague to colleague in that sense.
Exactly.
So colleague to colleague is why I'm naming them. And then there's just men, period, who should have said something. Just men everywhere, lay people, senators, governors, whatever, should have had her back, period. But the colleagues of all genders and all ages should have been behind her, even the ones who were Republican. They shouldn't stand for it.
But this is an indicator of how just debased and disgusting politics, the political sphere, has got as a reflection of the country. So moving on, this is, I think, some good news is Oscar and Golden Globe winner Monique Hicks is currently in a lawsuit with Netflix saying that she was discriminated against for her race and her gender.
Monique?
Netflix,
Who's that?
Monique, the comedian.
Oh,
Monique.
I never knew you mean Monique. I never knew she's her last
Yeah,
name.
yeah. So on the document, she goes by Monique Hicks, right?
Oh,
So the comedian known as Monique filed a lawsuit in 2019 against Netflix, saying that she was discriminated against based on race and gender when she was not offered what she saw as a fair amount to have a special on Netflix. When she countered, she was shut down. Netflix attempted to get the lawsuit thrown out, but this week, a judge in the U.S. District Court said that actually, no, Monique has a plausible allegation and the lawsuit will move forward. I know you followed that and you actually wrote about it.
Chow. Okay. When that whole thing blew up, I wrote a two-part, I didn't know it was a two-part, but I wrote a two-part essay about Monique because, the thing I didn't like, let me just say this real quickly. The thing that I didn't like is the Black community. We can be some sick bastards. Everybody who was going in on Monique and dragging her for filth online were not white people. There was not one white person dragging her for filth, whether it be a celebrity or just regular folk, except for one white celebrity, which was the white guy who's married to the white male comedian. I forgot his name. Who's married to a Black woman, that one white, lonely white comedian in the corner, the white guy.
Irrelevant. We'll just call him irrelevant.
Call him Mr. Irrelevant. But the only people chopping her up when they did, some people spoke up for her, but the ones who were dragging her were Black people, Black male comedians. I don't think I saw any I don't think I saw any Black women who were popular dragging her. But online, Black people of all genders.
Whoopi Goldberg, Whoopi Goldberg.
She didn't drag her, but she tried to kind of say, you asked for too much. She let her come on the show to talk about it. You asked for too much. You should have let me check you and school you on how to get this done, is what she said. But anyway, so that's the first thing. We are sick. You mean you're telling me that nobody Black, celebrity or otherwise, felt she deserved the millions of dollars for her Netflix special when those two Black men deserved the millions and Amy Schumer? And here's the thing. They did not give her a chance to negotiate. That's the language that the judge said. The judge said in the language, because you customarily give people a chance to negotiate, like Amy Schumer, and then you usually go higher with the rate, but you did not give her the chance. You never gave her the chance to negotiate. That's what I'm deciding on, because that one note was where you fucked up, Netflix. Now, if you go back to all of her, she and her husband has a podcast called, Monique and Sydney's open relationship, meaning it's a double entendre, open as in I guess they're open, but then being open about communication. She chronicled it well. She said and I know the name of the person, Robbie Prawl. I don't even know names. Robbie Prawl from Netflix comedy division, the president of the Netflix comedy division, Robbie Prawl, was the one that was running it. When they had the initial phone call and he said, they were now trying to say this is not going to be the phone all of a sudden died as they were talking. But called back, didn't call, couldn't get through. It was Robbie Prawl, her lawyer, Monique's lawyer, Monique, and Monique's husband, her manager, Robbie Prawl from Netflix, president of comedy division. He's still there now. White man, and hung up the phone. And down the road played like, oh, we got disconnected. No, you didn't, because we tried to call you back and you didn't call back. So that's the problem. They never gave her a chance to negotiate. They never said, okay, well, what are you looking for? Oh, you want 10 million, we'll give you 5. There was never a negotiation. This is just how janky they were. This is just how racist they are. Let me just tell you about Amy Schumer. Amy Schumer already had her $11 million contract signed and agreed upon, and she had moved on. The negotiations were over. She had already accepted the rate. When she discovered that Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle both got, I think, $20 million for this special, she came back, put the key in the door, and unlocked the negotiations, and they let her. And she came back for more.
And I think I got 60 million. It was more than that. I think I got like 60
I think it was several specials. I think it was 20 million per special. I think it's like for a couple of specials added together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I think they were going to do more than one special. So Amy Schumer came back across the desk, and she actually was able to open up a negotiation that had already closed. She had signed the contract and was gone. And they let her come back over the desk, kick the door in, and say, I want more. Give me 13 million. So she got 2 more million. Monique was only offered $500,000, didn't even put $1 million on the table. So then I was so freaking heated at Black people kicking Black women's back, and Black women can't get any justice anywhere. I will not allow it. Now, if you're wrong, you're wrong. Once I write an essay about you and I'm going in, I done did my research. So that was the problem, right? So now I'm going back and forth. So many of the things that people wanted to say about Monique when she started, they were saying she's crazy. They love to call Black women crazy and angry Black women when there's no such thing as angry white women. They were saying she's not the most, she said, I'm the most decorated comedian in the business. And people couldn't stand that shit. They don't like when we have some good, when we put our dick on the table. Suck a dick is what she said. She said, suck my dick if I had one. Not in this situation, but she said it about another situation with Oprah, Tyler, and Lee. But I think that's just how she's been walking through the world since she did that. I think she's just been going hard from 2016 when she first did that. So then I said, let me write this little essay. I was gonna write they told me, 800 words, that's it. Child, I think it was about 1,800 words. So I did the research. I mean, I'm digging. I mean, I'm talking like I was growing a beard. I was on this thing for days. I grew chest hairs, girl. I grew a beard. I looked like, and it was white. I looked like Santa Claus. I was looking nice and round. And when the smoke cleared, I was going to the North Pole, girl. I had taken over a Santa Claus place. Looked it up. I mean, I can't speak for now because I think I did the article about in 2019. When did I do 2018? I forgot when I did the 2-part article, the essay.
2018, probably.
Yes, yeah. So you can embed the part 1 and part 2. So part 1, I put Netflix, y'all need to chill. Play on words like Netflix and chill. Netflix, y'all need to chill. Then my part 2, because I wanted to make sure the part 2 made sense. And this is what's interesting. People weren't talking about that. My part 2 was Netflix, y'all need to chill part 2. And then I talked about, what does that always talk about? Pay equity for women, in particular Black women. The pay inequity. So part 1 was just about getting you the context about Monique, and then part 1, was about Monique in the backdrop. Then part 2 was a little bit more of Monique, and then the pay equity that she's discussing, which is truthful. So in part 1, the gist is I was just trying to make people understand that she's not lying. I did research on all the major comedians at the time. Monique, Chris Rock, Cedric the Entertainer, Amy Schumer, what's her name, Ellen, to Steve Harvey, D.L. Hughley, Kim Whitley, all these comedians. She's the most decorated comedian in the industry. Whoopi Goldberg, I looked her up too. Whoopi Goldberg.
Eddie Murphy.
Oh, Eddie Murphy. I looked them all up. I looked them all up. And you challenge my shit now because you're going to drop that article and embed that article. So I said, wait a minute now. And I still tried to say the most, but I tried to be nice. I should go back and edit that article. But I said that. She's the most decorated comedian. Decorated means received the most awards. Not nominations. She doesn't have the most nominations. I think some have more nominations than her, but she's won more. They didn't win. She has 50-something wins. I think Eddie Murphy had 16 nominations, or Chris Rock had 16 for this. And quality awards, it could be Oscars or, whatever, because they've done sitcoms and TV stand-up specials and, movies. So they've had different kinds of SAG awards and different kinds of awards, okay? Most decorated comedian. People got mad because they said that, well, what has Monique been doing? Excuse me, bitch. So at that same time that they gave this chick, Karen, AKA Amy Schumer, because she cried like Karen and ran back and got 2 million more over the top of the 11 million, got 13 million. They both had movies out that year. Almost Christmas, I think that's what it's called. And Amy Schumer had some kind of movie out. Almost Christmas, where Monique was one of the main characters in the film, came out the same year that I forgot Amy Schumer's, it's in my article. Amy Schumer's film came out. Almost Christmas was a box office hit, and it made $47 million. It costs, I think, 15 to make, some low budget. It made $25 million profit. Amy Schumer's film cost $47 million to make, and it cost $46 million to make, and it made $47 million in the box office. It only made $1 million. It's a box office bust.
Flop. Yeah, totally. Which proves exactly what she was saying.
Same year, 2016. Okay, we know that Amy Schumer's not an Oscar winner. We know that Monique had a popular show for years called The Parkers. So you're gonna tell me when it's a Black woman, all of her receipts get burned because they don't happen now? So you're gonna tell me she didn't get an Oscar in 2017 or whenever you offered that, so she doesn't get it? So what's the point of having our curriculum vitae? What's the point of having our resume? What's the point of them saying, people love to use things and play it against us? Oh, it's about the experience. Oh, you need to get some experience. She has all the experience you can want. She's been in Queens of Comedy, everything. And then they wanna say, well, Amy Schumer filled big arenas. I got something for that ass too. That's true. Amy Schumer can do stuff at, a big arena and fill it. You don't give us big arenas. How do you know we can't fill it?
That's an excellent point. That's an excellent point. And honestly, Amy Schumer's career has kind of fizzled since, since then.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't seen that much of her. I think another
issue Monique is raising. Monique never said, and Amy Schumer should not get that. That's
right. That's true. No, that's 100% true.
Amy Schumer should get that too, because I'm all down with women getting equal pay, no matter what the race of the woman is.
Right.
So Amy Schumer did the right thing, saying, "What? Chris Rock got that? What? Dave Chappelle got that? Let me come back and get that money." Absolutely, she should get that.
And I want to also add several things. I think also, as when I was an entertainment reporter, I cannot tell you how many conversations I had by Black actors and comedians about there's two type of basically people in Black people in entertainment. There are those who come in and are like, yeah, let's start our own, let's do our own, let's advocate, let's have more agency. And then you have the other side. The other side is that, I don't want to upset master. I don't want to do anything. If I do something, I might not work. I'm saying these two things because since this has happened to Monique, she has, in my opinion, experienced a serious evolution. And she's like, I've lost everything. I have issues with taxes. All my stuff is out. I'm going to be 100% transparent. Right. In her being transparent and outing people to talk about the inequities, in my opinion, has positioned people who have gotten better deals in Netflix if it were not for Monique. And they will never say that. But if it were not for her, they wouldn't have gotten those deals.
Because, to your point, Wanda Sykes, when Monique came out and said what she said about, boycott Netflix, I did boycott for a year, but listen, I'm in Romans now. I can't do it. But I did boycott for Netflix, true, real talk. So Wanda Sykes did come out and say, yeah, although I don't agree with how Monique said it or whatever, Netflix only offered me, I think she said some little number, like $200,000 too. So I took mine to Hulu. Since then, Wanda Sykes did a Netflix special. So they did circle back eventually 2 or 3 years later and gave her Netflix special. And I'm assuming since she didn't move on, you signed a good contract. She won't ever say because Monique did that. But see, here's where the chickens are coming home to roost. Sometimes the trailblazer takes a bullet, don't I know? Even when I went on Tucker Carlson's show and I got fired for standing up for Black Lives Matter, I'm on the right side of history, aren't I? That video will be out there forever. Now everybody's on the side of Black Lives Matter. Before, me and Colin Kaepernick and a few people were. Now the same white people who hated your guts, they're out there marching. So then my videos, in other words, I don't need to tell you I did it first. My video tells you that because the timestamp is on it. So Monique ain't got to say that. The timestamp is on it. And my article is another timestamp for her. So what has happened is they don't say anything about it. We're on the right side of history. Now a whole lot of Black Lives Matter stuff is happening. A whole lot of Black Lives Matter stuff is happening. Now the court of public opinion is going to help Monique, right? Because she was on the right side of history. She blazed the trail. Nobody in their right mind, if this ever gets to court, which if I was Netflix, it wouldn't go to court if it were me. If it gets to court, no jury is going to rule on the side of Netflix. If it's only a judge that's deciding, a judge ain't gonna do it. You gotta pay that bitch. And you gotta give her those millions. Now you should have just paid the bitch for doing the work. Now you gotta pay the bitch and she got it for nothing. It's called passive income.
Right.
And here's what that contract was gonna say also. It wasn't just, people don't understand something. People talk too much bullshit and I gotta check their asses. And I mean those folks that try to talk bad about Monique. It wasn't simply just the money. It was the contract. They wanted her to take $500,000, let me be real clear, only $500,000. And they wanted her to write her special. They all write their own specials. She writes the content for her 2-hour special, however long it is. They wanted to own it. They wanted to own the rights to her shit in the language in perpetuity, forever. And then if she left that special for only $500,000 and wanted to do another special, she had to wait 2 years first. And then after the 2 years, that means you can't work another special for 2 years and they own your content. And if you now wait the 2 years out for another special somewhere else on another network, you gotta then turn back around and give them the right of first refusal if you do get an offer somewhere else. That was the contract. It wasn't just $500. It wasn't just about the $500,000. That contract was nothing but slave labor. And we have now evidenced that by that lady, Michaela Coel, that came out a week or two ago and talked about her contract, the writer, actress who wrote her own show about her life. She did a show on Netflix called Chewing Gum, which I saw was a series, a cute little coming of age series about a young girl, virgin, coming to age and whatever, it was cute. She got raped on the set of her own show. She didn't say who raped her. So the show only got 2 seasons. I guess she didn't want to go back. But since then, she's worked other things and done other things. So in that space, she's kind of known in that space, but people don't know her generally. Real dark-skinned girl, high cheekbones. She cut her hair real short now. It was in dreads. But anyway, she's in the New Yorker magazine. So now I guess she figured, okay, I'm in bed with Netflix. I've done some things on Netflix. Let me circle back with this new project about the rape that took place on the set of my last project, Chewing Gum. And now I'm turning it into some content. It's scripted. I've got actors. I'm in it. Whatever. And I guess she's going to show every episode, like the rape and what happened after. I don't know what they were going to look like. So she went across the desk again and they wanted to buy it for $1 million. And she had a big agency that represented her. I don't want to call the agency. I don't know the name of the agency. But a big agency out of California. So don't you have an agent that's supposed to navigate for you to get money? So they wanted to give her only $1 million. It's literally 2 weeks ago. She told the story. She told it. And so they still up to shenanigans right now as we speak in the middle of Black Lives Matter. They still lying, right? Sitting stuff saying we down with Black Lives Matter. No, you're not. So they were only going to give her $1 million. They wanted to own all the rights. All the rights. They didn't want to own, I get 50%, you get 50%. I know they're going to own some percentage of the rights because this is your platform. They wanted to own all the rights. And it's not even like it's a script about nothing. It's actually a script about her story. She just scripted it. You want to own my story? She walked away and fired the agency because she found out the agent was doing some backdoor deals where they were going to get some money in perpetuity behind the scenes. That's Netflix. That just came out recently. Get that link. Embed that too. So Monique really was the nemesis that opened the can of worms, what I call, they say you open Pandora's box. She opened Pandora's ass.
Yeah,
so Monique about to get that bag. So what's going to happen is they got to pay Monique.
They're going to settle. They don't want that to go to court.
Better know better.
They don't want that because they're going to lose if they take it to court because all the evidence is there. And that sets up a case of precedence that will have a whole bunch of Black actors suing the hell out of a whole bunch of agencies and streaming companies and production companies for all of the exploitation that they've been doing.
So now what's interesting is she's getting paid twice. She ended up, people say, oh, nobody's gonna work with Monique because how she talks. See, listen, I've told my sister many times, people cannot think that they can make a decision to unilaterally on your own decide to assault someone, harm someone without their consent. You didn't get their blessings, but then you want them to respond in a way in which you're comfortable. So you want to do an action without my consent. You want to do an action against me without my blessing, but you want my reaction to be vetted by you. It don't work that way, bitch. You do an action, you're going to get a wild ass reaction. So I told my sister at all times, know that. And you may not like it. So her reactions, you ain't got to like them. Like, and one thing I like about Jada Pinkett Smith, she did come out on social media at the time. She was one of the Black actors that did say, listen, you ain't got to like how Monique said it about Netflix or even about anything else. But she's correct. You don't have to like it, how she said it. So she did eventually get a Showtime special called Monique and Friends, something like that. That was last year. So she did, people said, ain't nobody gonna be fucked with her. They did. Where one man won't, another man will. Where one man's hamburgers, another man's filet mignon. She got the special. What people don't understand about Monique is this. Monique never, ever, ever wanted to be a TV celebrity on a sitcom or be in a movie and have a talk show, what she did. She just wanted to be a comedian. That other stuff that she ended up doing was called extra. She never stopped doing stand-up the whole time. Some people did, like Eddie Murphy stopped, but she never did. She's always done stand-up. You know what she gets paid for stand-up? $50,000 to $100,000 per stand-up. So when you talk about $500,000 for a special that I wrote that you own, I can get that in 3 or 4 shows. And I'm doing 10 minutes.
And she also got the residency in Las Vegas for a minute.
She was the first Black woman to get a residency in Las Vegas, Black woman comedian. After that, I think Lunel got one after that, and I think Lunel, comedian. First. She's got all these firsts. So fast forward, it ain't going down, especially now in the climate of Black Lives Matter. They in other words, see, that's why it always pays just to do the right thing, because time will catch up to it. Not for everyone, but sometimes you get lucky. I mean, she lived long enough for her to now, it caught up to her and she's now right. Sometimes you die before you see it, but in her case, she didn't die before she saw it. They done. They got to get millions for doing nothing but sleeping in her bed.
Right. And for the record, all those people that shitted on her relationship or her partnership with Sydney Hicks, let me tell you,
Now, let me tell you something about me. I'm not big on men managing their wives. But for Monique, because I didn't like the whole, when I'm like, Jill Scott, why your man managing you, girl?
I didn't know that. Ooh, what?
Not the one that her first husband, now she's divorced. Wendy, why your husband, man? You married a bum and he managed, you gave him a job. But in the case of Sydney Hicks, once again, I do my research, read my part 1 and part 2. Sydney Hicks was not her manager in the beginning. She had to fire people. She had a big lawyer, a big white agency, a big white publicist. She had all the Hollywood trappings, but she was living the life of a lie. She was not making no money, just trying to look like she was Hollywood. And they were trying to, and every single time, even when she did the sitcom, The Parker, her own agency kept saying, when it's time for them to renegotiate the contract, get it on the next time. She kept saying that, get it on the next time. But I wanted to go for more money each time I'm renegotiating my contract. Her agents are doing this. They're all in bed together. So she had decided to fire them all. And she asked her husband, could you manage me? This was not what was going on in their marriage in the beginning. That's how that came about, because she felt like this is my husband and he has a stake in the claim for the family. You would do better. You'd be better off with somebody that you love and your family managing you than some stranger. And see, what they don't realize is she ripped the page right from the book of LeBron James. Because back in the day, I forgot how many years ago it was, LeBron James did the same thing. He didn't tell the dirty as to why, but he just did it. He fired everybody. They have these sports agents and these publicists and all that. I don't know what year it was because I don't follow basketball that much, but it was a few years back. Go look it up, circa 5 or 10 years ago. He fired them all, never gave the dirty as to why, and he hired 3 Black men who he grew up with. One went, I think 2 went to the same college he went to, whatever, and they all have backgrounds. Like one has a master's in marketing and something. They run his business. They've been doing it for years. He got rid of them. They don't care about you. And I'm not saying, if I blew up tomorrow, I can't hire anybody because I don't have a lawyer in the family, but my sister would manage me. My sister would be the manager because she's managed businesses for other people, in companies. But kind of thing. So she ripped the page right from LeBron James's book.
And to your point, during the height of the Black Lives Matter movement, it came out that one of these childhood friends and LeBron James just got a $100 million investment to build a media company. So this speaks to you.
That's the friend. That's one of the three.
That's
three. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So
Maverick Carter is his name. Maverick Carter.
And again, that goes back to, while we're trying to own ourselves, if we've got to get jobs or opportunities from white entities, we got to hold the line, because we want to eventually. I think now Monique is going to come out the box a bit different, because I guess she's on her own production company now. She's done some other movies, but like LeBron James, for example, LeBron James was the executive producer of Something Made. What's her name? About the lady that has the hair products. What's her name?
Oh, Madam C.J. Walker.
What was the movie called? It was called Something Made.
I gotta look.
Yeah, but anyway, LeBron James was an executive producer of that film and made them pay. What's her name? The main character?
Oh, she was on The Help. What is her name?
Actress. I don't keep up. I haven't watched movies in a long time. But anyway, LeBron James went to bat for her. I think it was on either Netflix or HBO. I think it was on Netflix. Yeah, that's another story. Netflix. Those bastards.
It's exactly. It's Self-Made is the name of the movie. Self-Made, and the woman is what is her name?
Well, LeBron James had to make them pay her what she deserved.
Octavia Spencer.
So you had to make, and this is literally like, when did it come out? Last year, 2019. They are notorious for their bullshit. Net fucks. Instead of Netflix, net fucks. Netflix fucks everybody when they're black. So because LeBron James was breaking their backs, they gave that girl that rate. But if it wasn't for the fact he was the black man standing there doing it, they would have screwed the girl, even now. So they full of shit. That's it. Netflix ain't nobody. Well,
I think, I got a hard, I'm actually 31 minutes late to this meeting. We still have to talk about the follow-up to Nick Cannon in his Cannon's class, his first, podcast, his Cannon's class, and Megan Thee Stallion. So maybe we'll just have, yes, in the
ether, yeah.
Yeah, the intimate partner violence that she was in with Tory Lanez. So next week we'll do that. But I'm so glad we ended on Monique.
Yes,
because you are the first person, in my opinion, that I heard a very thorough analysis and a historical context about exactly what happened. So from your lips,
Lisa's check-ins ain't no joke. When you want to check in with Lisa.
Check in, okay? The check-in is for real.
Then embed those links to those articles, because people need to read and stop talking bullshit about this black woman.
Yeah.
Yes.
So final thoughts always go to you, Lisa?
Well, we talked about a lot of stuff. I just feel like, I just, in light of this last piece, I want to send something out to black folks, because I think your platform reaches all kinds of people, but black people, please. We are the most disrespected, especially black women, unprotected people on the planet. We are the most violated people on the planet, whether it be physically, financially, emotionally, spiritually, in every way. Can we not do that to these people? When I say that, I mean stand up for them. I'm not saying stand up for wrong. But you don't want to stand up for people when they're right. You don't want to stand up for Monique getting the extra money. Why? That hurt me. That hurt me bad. Just because they owe us 40 acres of the mule. Until we're equal, we can't try to be equal. We need to get ahead. So don't try to say what she didn't deserve, because she deserved the 40 acres of the mule from her foremothers and forefathers. So now if we were all equal, maybe I would open them to your debate. But she needed that money. So we need to stop being our own worst enemy and stand behind each other, so we can get an equal playing field in all areas, financially and otherwise. So to say that, I'm saying this is why we can all do our part. So in my particular case, I couldn't give her a contract, but I'm a writer and I wrote a 2-part piece that's always out there for you to read. You can do something like shut the fuck up and not be online, dragging her for filth and adding to what they say. See, the Negroes, I call it Negroes, N-E-D, grows. The Negroes are saying she didn't deserve it. They love it when we do that. Just don't do it, or do something to elevate it in this particular case. So I just want to send it out there because it's not just Monique's situation. It's happening in people's situations wherever you are. It's not just celebrities. Because honestly, listen, I'm not crying for these celebrity problems, honestly, but it was just about a Black person, period. That's it.
So thank you so very much. Yes, for breaking it down in these plantation politics that are still going on. Yeah, the Monique one was good. You know what I'm saying? In order for her to go, I remember earlier on in it, she was speaking and she said something to she was having a conversation with her husband, Sydney. And I think he said, like, we don't even understand what we're doing, but what will happen at the end of it, it will have so much magnitude in terms of industry. And so that's what we're seeing unfolded. Lisa Durden, it is so good to check in with you. I will catch up with you next week. Have a wonderful week.
Bye.
Bye.
Ark Republic, telling stories to change the conversation of the world. A collective of newsmakers, narrators, curators, creating rich stories for the people.